What's up, friends? I'm Jonathan Miller, and welcome back to Jonathan Miller Music, where we help each other become better artists. Recently, I had the opportunity to attend Tomorrow by Together's Act Promise World Tour, and it was amazing. So today, I'm going to share my thoughts on the whole show and my whole VIP experience. So if you're a MOA, aspiring artist, K-pop fan, or maybe you just want to know what it was like, perhaps for even attending your show in the future, then this video is for you. But please remember that this whole video is my experience, and yours might be a little bit different, and that's perfectly okay. Leave a like if you want to see more concert reviews, subscribe so you don't miss my future uploads, and leave me a comment telling me what your favorite TXT song is. Or if you're attending the show in the future, feel free to ask me any questions. With that out of the way, here's my concert review of Tomorrow by Together's Act Promise World Tour live at the Tacoma Dome. For Act Promise, I had VIP too. So I can't speak for everyone else, but I'm really glad I had VIP, because in comparison to twice last year at the same venue, I basically had a completely different experience. Right away, my biggest issue was that I never actually got emailed instructions for what to do for VIP. That might actually tell me when and where to be on concert day. I ended up scouring the internet just to try and keep an eye on things and asking around for advice. So shout out to the K-pop community right there for being so helpful. I knew my people would come through for me. I knew that people had been camping out, and since I didn't get any instructions from the Tacoma Dome, as somebody who likes to plan things, I just decided to go early at about 1:15 p.m. I thought if I missed something, then whatever, it is what it is. But wow, there was literally nothing to worry about. There were two merch booths open, and the one literally right in front of the stadium had zero line. No one was in it. Seriously, after people camping out, I just walked up to the counter. There was no one in line. It wasn't even a VIP exclusive merch line. It was just the regular one, and I walked right up. I know that that is not always the case, so I felt pretty lucky. They were unfortunately sold out of this hoodie and the Tacoma exclusive t-shirt, but luckily I found out that I had a friend who was also attending the tour and had been in line since 7 a.m., so she was actually able to grab me one. Shout out to her. The staff at the merch booth were super funny. They genuinely seemed like they were excited to work the event. So I got my merch and literally walked it back to the car. And then I headed out to find the VIP line. Now I could see the VIP 1 and 2 lines, but it actually took me a second and walking around the building halfway to actually find the entrance, which ended up being right behind me at the merch booth. Literally 2 feet from where I was standing. Good job, John. The VIP line was a bit long, but I knew at 1:15, patience would be key. But actually, within 5 minutes, a staff member went through the line and came all the way to the back of it where I was standing to tell us that we were actually standing in the VIP 1 line. And there was literally, again, no one in the VIP 2 line. So I just walked up to the tent.
What would happen if you just called Taylor up?
I could not believe how easy it was. I know that that is not common either, but I was happy. I got checked in where I received my Promise Deluxe VIP lanyard and bracelet. At that point, it was about 1:30 p.m. I had only been there for about 15 minutes, and I had no idea how long I would be waiting since, again, I never received VIP instructions. But the wait itself actually wasn't that bad. It was a nice clear sky day with a cool breeze. The Tacoma Dome had a food and water cart that walked up and down the lines, and people were so helpful making sure that we passed along things so people could get what they needed. There were restrooms nearby, and many people were being very respectful of holding people's place in line if they had to go use the restroom. I know we K-pop fans get a bad rep online, but honestly, when it comes to it at concerts, people are generally in really good moods and very helpful. People were handing out cute freebies. I got this super cute crown banner to wear. It was made by fans as a project for their first stop in the US, and I'll put their name on screen because it was such a cool thing to receive. As the afternoon got a little bit hotter, the venue handed out little cookies for people. Also, if you bought water from the cart, you could actually take it through security into the venue, which I thought was great. People were doing some dance challenges. I got to see people's outfits. So really, overall, I can't complain. 4 o'clock eventually rolled around and VIP 1 started to enter the building. At 4:30, VIP 2 began to go through security, which I was toward the end of the line, as you might expect as it turned out, but I still got in before 5 p.m. And once I was through security, I got another VIP exclusive little merch bag that I did not expect, which came with a commemorative ticket, some stickers, and like a cute little notebook journal. And as someone who is addicted to office supplies, It's my new favorite thing. Then I had some time to relax. The VIP merch booth had no line, same with the food and drink areas. I went into the restrooms and they were so clean. If you saw my concert review of Twice, you'll know that this really was like the opposite experience. The staff was friendly and in great spirits. I walked right onto the floor, not realizing I was going to be like right up against the stage. I could not believe my luck. I was so happy and so excited. This was also my first time ever being VIP for a K-pop concert, and it was my first time seeing TXT. So the whole time, I really didn't know exactly what to expect, but people were taking pictures and chatting with each other. I basically placed myself right at the diamond, and like the entire concert, I was practically barricade. Some of my footage doesn't actually reflect that, but people were moving up and down, so I was pretty close. There was so much room to walk around. K-pop concerts always make me feel at home and safe, so I was completely content. And at 5:30, it was time for SoundCheck. But first, a shout out to this video sponsor, DistroKid. DistroKid is one of the top music distributors online, helping independent artists all over the world like you and me get our music up on streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Pandora, and more. For one small yearly price, you'll be able to distribute as much music as you can create, depending on which plan you decide is right for you and suits your needs the best. You'll also gain access to a wide array of additional features that can take your music to new heights. One such feature is the ability to upload your music videos to places like iTunes and Apple Music through a separate service called DistroVid. Simply choose the platforms you'd like to distribute to, add your record label if you've got one, language and genres. Add your song title and featured artist info if you've got one. Specify if it's live footage or not. Choose your file and add a description. Put in your songwriter info and all the credits you have for the song and video. Link your Apple Music profile and check all the important boxes. Then your music video will be on its way to stores. Use my special VIP link to save yourself 7% on your first year's membership with DistroKid. Link is in the description. If you've never experienced SoundCheck at a concert like I hadn't, SoundCheck is pretty quick. I know what SoundCheck is, I'm literally a singer-songwriter, but everyone's a little bit different. So for TXT, it was about 15 minutes. TXT came out to hype up the floor crowd. They talked to us directly. They played 3 songs in casual outfits, walking up and down the stage, making sure that their in-ear monitors were working properly. It's honestly really fun. It's like a short, private, intimate concert for you and a few friends. They played Good Boy Gone Bad, Magic, and Deja Vu, and of course they were fantastic. Magic is one of my favorite TXT songs, so the fact that I got to see it in SoundCheck and during the concert was just super special. When SoundCheck was over at about 5:45 p.m., we had about an hour and 45 minutes until showtime, so I basically just hung out and chatted with people. I took photos for people with their friends as everyone continued to pile into the stadium. 2 really nice girls helped me pair my light stick with the stadium. Setup wasn't too complicated. There are instructions that play on screen for you, but for some reason I just couldn't get it to work. There were no seats on the floor, so the girls told me to basically just pick a random one to pair it with, and of course within a couple minutes it was all good. There were a few notices letting us know that this concert would be filmed. I'm not sure if anything will come of that, but in my experience, those notices only get posted if some sort of movie or something is planned. It could be just for behind the scenes footage or maybe their vlog thing on YouTube. We'll see what happens, but I did find that interesting. Nevertheless, at 7:30 p.m. sharp, right on time, the show began. The concert itself was phenomenal. K-pop concerts are always elite, but TXT really put on a great show. Like I said, I placed myself at the diamond and I just could not believe my view the entire time. Just being able to appreciate their artistry and how they really gave every moment their all was just something I'm not going to forget. I didn't spoil myself by learning the set ahead of time, and honestly for me, that enabled every single moment to be a surprise. I was screaming the entire time because every transition just kept me on my toes. A moment in particular that I thoroughly enjoyed was the Korean traditional version of Sugar Rush Ride. I genuinely wish more K-pop groups would do something like this, especially when they tour abroad here in the US, because the whole thing was an awe-inspiring sequence. Their hanbok and fans moving in sync with their fluid dancing, and yes, live vocals, was just so cool to witness. I'm from the USA, and our country is only about 250 years old, which is fairly young in historical terms. So whenever I get to see people demonstrate parts of their culture in ways that fuse traditional and modern is something that I'm just enamored by every single time. Because that's just something that we don't really have a lot of here. Long-term subscribers will know how near and dear the AAPI community is to my heart, and I really just want to thank TXT, Hybe, and Big Hit for making that part of the set list. It was fantastic from start to finish, and a moment on this tour that I'm never gonna forget. A couple other moments that I thoroughly enjoyed were Yeonjun and Subin's solo dance sequence. Subunit Wen? They were so in sync with each other. It was sleek, it was a small dose of sexy, it was smooth, and they sounded great together. I loved during one of the speaking parts later, how they got Kai, Bumgyu, and Taehyun to do the dance as well. I thought the girls behind me were gonna absolutely lose their minds. It was absolutely great. I told the girl behind me that she deserves an award for best cheerer. TXT just oozes talent, and that really came through at the show. The transitions were intriguing. The energy was electric. When they first rose from the stage, it was exhilarating. Also, I know TXT can speak English, but I genuinely was thoroughly impressed with how little they used their translator. Honestly, they really didn't use the translator until the very end of the show when they were trying to communicate how appreciative they were for Moa's being there. English is certainly not a requirement for me to enjoy a show, but it was nice to be able to connect with them in that way. The boys were sweating up a storm on that stage, and from the conversations to all the music, it was a precious memory that I will be keeping with me always. The show was about 2 hours, and then about 10 or 15 minutes later, after it initially ended, TXT came out for another 30-minute encore. That 10-15 minutes was just long enough to make you think, oh, maybe it's actually done, but not quite long enough to make you actually leave. The encore was a few more songs and tons of confetti. They performed up and down the stage. Yeonjun actually shot off a confetti gun right into the crowd and was super apologetic about it. It was on the opposite side of where I was, so I didn't get any footage of it, but to my knowledge, luckily no one was hurt or anything. It was such an awesome finale that at a certain point, I just kind of held my camera up and looked around to just really soak it all in. Like, I'm from the Pacific Northwest. For a long time, nobody really came to Tacoma or Seattle or hell, even Portland. And the fact that K-pop groups do now just makes me so happy. Loser Lover was the song that got me into TXT, and I got to see it live, up close, in person. Overall, the whole thing was so much fun. While it was frustrating, I never received instructions from the venue or even Hybe or whoever was supposed to send it, and it ended up being kind of a hot day. I honestly can't complain very much. TXT put on a fantastic show. The Tacoma Dome really improved from my experience last year with Twice. The restrooms were clean, people were friendly, everything was very clearly marked at the venue. The line moved quickly once it was time to finally get in. Again, it was like the complete opposite of last year, despite Twice being absolutely amazing just like TXT was, even though they were down 2 members. TXT gave me a memory that I feel really privileged to have. My ticket for VIP 2 was about $350, and honestly, if that's what I got for that price in today's economy, being essentially barricade, having easy merch access, a few wonderful freebies, meeting new awesome people and a fantastic show, and SoundCheck, that was well worth the price tag in my opinion. If I can, I would like to do VIP again at the Tacoma Dome for a future K-pop concert, maybe like Idol, which is coming in September, literally on my birthday. We'll see what happens, but for now, I'm going to cherish my experience with TXT and Moa in the crowd because Act Promise live at the Tacoma Dome really did feel just like magic.